Welcome to episode 19 of the Bulls Recap Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You could obviously read me in the Sun-Times, or you could follow me on Twitter at JCowleyHoops, X, whatever you want to call it. Just got back from a long road trip, still unpacking, as you can see in the background. You might see a big suitcase. Look, I understand the IQ of the show is about to go down, but that's okay. I asked for it. I did a vote. The fans, the people, because I am a man of the people, they wanted this guy on. Fred Pfeiffer. A lot of you guys know him as C-Red Fred, CBE Fred on Twitter. Let's just go ahead and bring him in and give the people what they want. Is that an introduction or what?
Joe, I'm so honored to be on the show, first of all.
All right, let me just tell you what you got, what you've gotten right. Okay. I'm going to tell you what you've gotten right. The plus minus that you and Doug were debating. Here's why Doug is completely wrong. And this gets to my point of why the last year, I don't know what's happened to you. It's almost like you got dropped on your head the last year. So what Doug doesn't understand is he looks at plus minus. People look at plus minus. He looks at it as an analytics guy because I know that's his background, that's his forte, and just says you can't just judge a guy and say, well, plus minus, why it worked, why it didn't for that guy. You don't know the circumstances. Here's where he's wrong. They don't look at it like a fan. They don't look at it linear. They don't look at it two-dimensional. When a coach, and both Tibbs and Billy are very similar in this with plus minus, they map out their rotation before a game. They know X minute, I like to go with this guy. Obviously, injury can mess with things. Foul trouble could always mess with things. But they have a general idea of a roadmap of, we want this grouping against this kind of this grouping. So if the Cavs go big, let's go Vooch and Drummond, for example. Or let's start Vooch and Drummond against the Cavs. And they don't care individually what the plus minus is. What they look at is the function of that group against that kind of team, that big lineup. How did that group plus minus wise look against the Cavs bigs? How did it look against Memphis's bigs? How did it look when, do we have something here? We're seeing a lot of pluses. This is actually working against this kind of team. And so all that stuff is filed. All that stuff is data that they use. And a lot of it is just feel where Billy knows, hey, I really like how Vooch, or say it's Drummond or Vooch and Zach Collins, I like how they run the floor against bigs. I like how Vooch trails and Zach gets down. And then for some reason, Kevin Huerter has like a plus 10 in that grouping. So I'm going to keep him in that grouping. So that's how they look at it. So you are 100% right that plus minus carries heavy merit for coaches that are very detailed and very organized. And all of them use it. Just it's more of a feel thing of this group gave me this type of feel. So, I tried explaining that to Doug, but he thinks of it as you pick up a score sheet and you look and you say, he was plus minus, he was plus 10. He must have had a good game. Well, he shot 2 of 10 and he got worked by this offensive player, but he just happened to be in the group when Kobe White went off. Exactly. That's not how they look at it.
Yeah.
So you were 100% right on arguing that. I don't know if that's what you're.
I appreciate. What a great introduction, Doug. Joe, I got to say, first of all, does this endeavor that you and Cap and the team have started, I am just so excited about it. I've watched every one of your shows. You're a natural for podcasting. I've been in this business since 2007, and you are really good at it. So keep it up. I will admit I'm a little bit hurt that it took this long to get on the show. I do have the reputation.
I've had a lot of important guests.
That's true. That's true, but I do have the reputation as the preeminent predictor and thinker when it comes to Bulls. But that's okay. Hey, I'm on now, so it's worthy of celebration. And on top of that, we got the Red Leviathan roaring. They're tearing it up. What timing? The Steelers still don't have a quarterback. What a great time for me to come on the show. Regarding plus minus, I agree with you totally. I also think too, plus minus, when I look, I was involved, obviously, coaching my son for many years in basketball over the course of my life. My dad was a coach for 30 years, coaching AAU. There is something when you look and you see a guy consistently relative to the rest of the team at a plus 10, plus 12 in every game, that usually is an indication that guy's doing the right things on the floor. And some guys that might look uber talented and uber gifted to the average person watching the game don't do the little things. Don't box out when the shot goes up. Don't set good picks. Don't help on defense. Those kind of things will have a negative impact. So they might be scoring a lot, and I've encountered this as a coach. We've had a lot of parents come up and say, why isn't my son playing more? He's a bucket getter. Yeah, but he doesn't box his man out. He doesn't, help. These little things that are so important to winning games are reflected in the plus minus. So I like looking at it. I agree with Doug in the case that you can't look at one game and say, this guy was a minus 20. He sucks. Right. But over the course of several games, I think it is a valuable statistic. And I know that we did get a lot of positive feedback and a big red bus for that, but it was a big argument that we have. Doug's a really smart, analytical guy. I'm definitely more salt of the earth and coming from, the south side of Chicago and that whole area and playing in the Catholic League. And, I do have a lot of older thoughts that are probably more in line with you. There are some areas, though, that are definitely different.
No, they're not. All right, so here's the issue I've had the last year with you. It started probably last year. The one thing I liked about you and Doug and why I did your guys' podcast is I thought you guys were very good about taking the information and putting a good perspective on it, whether it's a fan perspective, whether it's just your perspective of watching the Bulls throughout your entire life. And I always thought that was good. And I'm not putting Doug in this. I'm putting you in this. So this is why you're on here. The thing that I've seen the last year from you is you've strayed from that. Now you're just kind of water cooler guy. I don't know if it's your emotions. I don't know what's going on with you, but the stuff you say. Look, I get. So here's one example. I think you tweeted out a month ago, there's no way Lonzo Ball plays again, or there's no way Lonzo Ball is playing again. I'm paraphrasing. I didn't say definite. That. It was a very definite. You'll be surprised if Lonzo Ball plays again. It was a very you playing doctor.
That's not what I said.
What did you say? There was.
I said I wanted the Bulls to trade Lonzo Ball because I think any argument.
You didn't say that. It was a very small tweet. It was a very. What did you say?
I stated that any argument that starts with if Lonzo stays healthy, you've lost the argument. And that's the argument I heard from everybody.
That came later.
No.
I remember that.
But that's the truth. It's like I understand how important he is to the team and what a great guy he is. We have a mountain of guards. We had a chance to get an asset.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with the roster construction. I'm disagreeing with your takes lately have just been very. Look, I know you hate Vooch.
I do not hate Vooch.
I know you hate Vooch, the player.
Yes.
But here's
I don't hate him as a player.
There's
with 12, this team, Joe.
There's 12 guys. There's 12 guys in that locker room that swear by him, and that's all that matters. If they think they're better with Vooch, it doesn't matter what you statistically think or the outside world thinks because it is a mediocre roster. When you are a mediocre roster and you have no chance of winning, you better like each other and fight for each other and want to play for each other. Otherwise, you're a mediocre roster who doesn't like each other, and then all of a sudden, then you got issues. That's what you guys don't understand. On a championship-level team, without question, Vooch, my whole argument with the Vooch thing, the trade, I'll stand 100% on. 100%.
I agreed 100%. With it at the time, too. There's no argument there.
Then that's it. There's no at the time. The mistake was this front office not letting go when they needed to. And everyone fought me on maxing Zach LaVine. You guys all thought I was an asshole and I was nuts and didn't know what I was talking about. Oh, once the cap goes up, we'll get value for him. We'll get this. We'll get that. You just said that
meet the straw man.
You just said growing up that you appreciate the guys that do the little things. But yet, you can't differentiate guys in the locker room, how well they're liked and the importance of that. And you cannot differentiate. You've always fought me on the idea that Zach LaVine is somehow better than Jimmy Butler.
I don't think I've ever said he's better than Jimmy Butler. I said that he has more. No, I never said he was better than Jimmy Butler. Never
until Jimmy beat him head-to-head in that play-in game 2 years ago, because I remember your tweet. You finally admitted you're right. Jimmy's better. I remember that because leading into that, your whole thing was Zach's better. Look at him score. Look at him do this. Look at him do that.
I said no. I said it was time to trade Jimmy Butler. I was irritated with Butler for several reasons, starting with his critique of Derrick Rose's work ethic. That's not what a teammate should do in public, and that's exactly what.
Do you know who started that critique?
I don't want to hear who started it. Jimmy's the guy who said it, and that's where I read it everywhere. Most of the fans. Who started it?
Pau Gasol started it.
Pau Gasol started. Well, regardless, he didn't say it in public. That didn't make the papers. If he's doing it behind the scenes, who cares? The fact is, Jimmy said it to the press.
That's my point. That's my point. You're judging. So you are judging Jimmy based on what half the team was feeling. And there's
a huge difference, though.
But that's been talked about. We've all talked about that. There was a divide. There was a civil war going on in the team. It was Pau and Jimmy versus Derek and Joakim. It's basically those were the front men of it. The only difference is Pau wouldn't put his fingers on the weapon. There was no fingerprints.
Can we bookmark this because I want to.
And Derrick Rose was done. Derrick Rose was shot. The fact that you thought going forward with Derrick Rose and his broken knee and his brand first bullshit
he clearly wasn't done
over Jimmy Butler, who took a team with no talent twice to the finals.
I never said that. I said that I never said that I was criticizing Butler because he didn't take. Yeah, later with the Heat. What happened with Jimmy Butler? He criticized Derrick Rose. Big mistake in public. Then they trade.
Wait. Let's take this one by one. Why was it a big mistake? Derrick had never been called out, and the truth behind the scenes, the organization was so pissed at Derrick. Pissed at him that he would not play that season.
You saw my question I sent before this. I want to get to that.
And I'm telling you, they were beyond pissed that A, he wouldn't play that season. B, he wouldn't recruit. They had a place setting for him. He said he was coming to the dinner for Carmelo Anthony, and then he no-shows, and you're staring across the table at Carmelo Anthony, and they're looking at an empty place setting. That's the guy you wanted to stay with? That's the guy. Not the kind of guy.
Derrick's not the kind of guy to do that. But are you telling me that you think Derrick's teammates don't respect him and don't love him? Because I think that's not true based on what I've seen at these other stops. I just read an article about when he scored 50+ for Minnesota, how the whole team was behind him and trying to get that great achievement after the knee injury. I think his teammates love him. Joe does. Clearly,
so imagine, you're right, the whole league loves him. Imagine if he would have used that love to recruit, what kind of players they could have brought to Chicago.
Well, so now who's not a good teammate? To be Zig Ziglar and go out and sell the team. That's not the type of guy he is. I don't care.
And shame on him. That tells me you don't want to win because that's what the league does.
Joe,
that's what the league does.
All I heard was
Olympics, All-Star games, all these guys do for Olympics and All-Star games is plot the future. That's all that is.
All I heard was critiques about Garpax bringing in Dwayne Wade. When Jimmy Butler was the guy who wanted him, who actively recruited him, who wanted Wade to come to Chicago, mission accomplished. And what did they do? They used that to tear up his teammates, the younger players. And everybody says, well, Wade pushed him into that. No, he didn't. He's the guy. Butler's the guy. Don't act like was he a child?
Hold on. See, Again, you're taking feelings over facts. You're caught in your feelings over facts. Before that season started with Dwayne Wade, Jimmy was still bringing all those young guys with him that summer.
Doug McDermott.
Whoever wanted to come. It was an open invite. Whoever wanted to come. Portis, whoever wanted to come was allowed to come.
Yeah, that's great. And they did that. Then what happened when things got tough? That's not the measure of the man, what you do in the offseason. The measure of the man when things
Do you remember that night? Do you remember that night? Do you remember the night of the quotes?
But was it against the Rockets they lost? I think that was the game.
Do you remember the night? Go back.
I do remember. It was late February, I believe.
Okay. And so then tell me exactly what happened. I'll tell you you're wrong.
His teammates didn't do well. I remember, was it Paul Zipser was taking
They hadn't been doing well. Go ahead.
Yes. Paul Zipser took a poor shot. He didn't deserve to take the
There
shot.
There were two open gyms on the road, and not everybody went to them. But go ahead.
Yeah, and then Niko Mirotic also tried to be a superstar in the last 2 minutes. They took the shots, and they criticized them. They didn't earn that right to take the shot.
Who criticized?
Am I right?
No, you're wrong.
Okay, let me hear it.
Here's exactly what had happened. Jimmy was still in the back when we interviewed Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade singled out the young guys.
Mm-hmm.
We talked. Jimmy came out. We said to Jimmy, "This is what's going on." Jimmy's like, "It's everybody. It's everybody." He did not say the young guys. Go back and read the quotes. He said it's everybody.
Joe, his teammates.
I was there. Were you there?
Minnesota. He goes to Minnesota.
Wait. No, let's take it. Let's take it. Let's take it.
Pressing things to talk
no,
about.
let's take it one. Right, let's take. I'm going to tell you right now. Let's take it one by one. Okay. He goes to Philadelphia. Joel Embiid instantly loves.
Well, what about Minnesota? He's got.
We're going one by one. We're going. Oh, okay. He's got Cat and Wiggins.
First. Yeah.
Okay.
How did that work?
He goes there. Wiggins is already signed. Jimmy's like,
yes.
I wouldn't have signed him, but okay. All right.
Well, then you look at Steph and he wins a title with Wiggins. But go on. Let's hear what Jimmy
I know.
about Wiggins.
Okay. I said he didn't mind Wiggins, but he knew there was going to be a problem if they maxed Cat. So he was telling them, if you remember, when he got traded there, Kyrie Irving asked for to be out of Cleveland. What were the teams he listed as his teams?
Kyrie Irving asked to get out of Cleveland. I can't recall. Probably the Heat, I would guess. Probably the Lakers. Is that right?
And strangely enough, Minnesota. Kyrie wanted to play with Jimmy.
He's close with Butler. How did that work out? Not well.
Because of the Olympics. That's where they hooked up. So
Jimmy
said, I wanted this guy and this guy. Do not commit to Cat. Cat is not built for that. And the reason they knew that is because earlier that year, Cat kept bringing his PlayStation on the road and was playing Fortnite every night instead of watching film. And
God,
he was sent film with nothing on it and said he watched it. That's the guy you want to max out.
That's really struggled since he's broken up with Jimmy.
Oh, I know. Let's count all his rings.
Conference final last year.
As Robin, he was there. As Robin,
he's
he was there.
50, 40, 80 center. He pulls out guys from the rim. If Jimmy did the right thing, he would embrace that and tried to work with him and made a miracle.
Because he's gutless. They don't like Pussycat. They don't like it.
Joe, I don't want to talk. This is a Bulls pod.
I'm telling you what you are celebrate. Okay, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate right now.
You want to talk about stuff we agree with? How about let's talk about Patrick Williams? You want to hear my take on Patrick Williams? You want to talk about him for a while?
I said I'm out on Patrick Williams, but that's not like breaking news. These you're stuck on things because of your emotions. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what the bothersome thing is. You just said at the beginning of this podcast, you love guys that do the little things. You love guys that impact winning. The Bulls had that guy in Jimmy Butler, and they didn't want to super max him. And
Minnesota had him. And Philadelphia had him. And Miami had him.
Okay, so good. I'm glad you brought them up. Wait. No, those are all good points because the Bulls had him, and he got the Bulls to the playoffs. After that, they're just a joke. Then Minnesota had him. He broke a 13-year drought. 13 years. He took Wiggins, a young Wiggins, and Pussycat to the playoffs. They didn't want him. He didn't want them.
Lost in the first round.
Lost in the first round. You're right. Okay.
Lost in the Rockets. Out.
Then he goes to Philadelphia. Yeah. He loses on a Kawhi lucky bounce. Otherwise, he wins the title that year because Golden State was
lost. Didn't get into the Eastern Conference Finals.
You're right.
With Joel
Embiid. You're right. Then he goes to Miami, took them to the finals twice with very little talent around him. It was very LeBron.
In the bubble.
Boobie Gibson. In the bubble. That when you go, this is my thing. Your emotions and facts. Have you talked to guys that played in the bubble?
I know there were some guys that didn't go to play in the bubble. I haven't talked to anybody who played in the bubble. Hey, he deserves a title.
Have you talked to guys that have played in the bubble? Because one was here, his name was Alex Caruso.
Doesn't deserve any credit for it either. He's only like the best defensive big in the Eastern Conference. At Thibodeau, your buddy always talks about how great that guy is.
He was a great Robin. He was a great Robin. Was he the front man of that group?
No.
Who was the front man of the Heat team?
Who
led them in every category in both
The only times he's ever gotten to the finals, look it up. Guess who's been hurt? Giannis. He's not better than Giannis. He never is going to win a title. He's a Batman. He's a Robin, to someone's Batman. Jimmy Butler is not Batman. I know you love him.
Yes.
He's
so
a
what's
Robin.
Cat? So what's Cat?
Cat is an excellent Robin. He's going to be perfect for the Knicks. He has been perfect for the Knicks.
He's ruined the culture.
40. No, he
They're
hasn't.
not even a tough team anymore.
Yo, what
They're
culture?
not tough.
What?
There is nobody.
They didn't even get to the
says,
Eastern Conference Finals.
There is nobody that says, "Wow, this Knicks team feels like last year when they were tough." They're not. True. He's a soft big man. He's a pussycat. Why don't you understand that? Nobody. He's very.
Why don't you understand how valuable it is to Brunson to pull out bigs away from the basket? Because you have to guard a guy who shoots 40 plus from three. He's the best shooting center, arguably in the history of the game from three.
Why'd Minnesota?
That's a massive benefit.
Why'd Minnesota get rid of him?
That's
why'd Minnesota get rid of him? If he's the greatest thing, why'd the Minnesota get rid of him?
Because they didn't want to pay. You know the
because they had to build a team with. First of all, he sucked so bad he got him the first round pick. So they got Anthony Edwards, who instantly took over the team.
Yes, he's a Robin. He's
Pussycat. Pussycat wanted to be a two guard because we've seen in the playoffs how he stands in the corner. So they had to go get Gobert because Gobert will do the dirty work that 6'11" Cat doesn't want to do. You claim to know basketball, but yet you're so naive to your blind spots. You're so naive to your blind spots. You know why I know this? Because I talk to guys. You don't. That's the problem. The last year, you're stuck in your feelings. Who do you talk to?
Yo, I talk to a lot. I know scouts. You don't think I know anybody who's ever played the game of basketball? I know scouts, NBA scouts. I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to John Paxson. I know a lot of people who played the game that have played at a high level. You're not the only guy. Yes, you have access to a lot more than I do right now, NBA players, but don't act like I don't know the game. I absolutely freaking know the game, and I know that
you lost me on that.
Valuable,
I thought you did.
How valuable it is.
I thought you did.
How valuable it is to have a big who pulls the other bigs out away from the basket. The NBA today is two things. Can you hit the three, and do you have players that punish an extended three? 19 out of the top 20 teams last year who made the playoffs
Actually,
are playing.
The NBA right now is pace, but okay, go ahead.
No. 19 out of the top 20 teams last year in three-point percentage made the playoffs or playing. You have to shoot to extend defenses. You cannot be a poor shooting team. That's why Orlando doesn't win anything of value. They're excellent defensively, but they can't shoot. You got to shoot in today's league. Pace is important too. Yes, I agree. I'm not going to debate that.
Here's where you're wrong.
Defensive efficiency and shooting.
Shoot all the threes you want. You could do all the shooting of threes you want. Come playoff time, fourth quarter, you need that dude. And Cat will never be that dude. The game slows down. The game, we're seeing
He was that dude against Denver. Did you watch that series last year? Probably not.
Anthony Edwards averaged 8 more points a game than Cat did.
Who's the best player on Denver? Jokic. Who was forced to run out and try to guard him multiple plays consistently?
They were throwing
very well.
They were throwing Nas Reed. They were throwing all kind of big bodies. Cat, get out of here.
So was Cat.
You didn't watch it, man.
I don't know. Somehow this discussion has gotten way late into Cat.
No, it's going exactly where it needs to go to. It goes to the point of your feelings dictate way too much of you thinking they're facts. That's where you've lost me the last year.
All right.
This is your rehab. This
is my rehab.
This is your rehab center.
What do you disagree with me about on Kobe White? I've been the biggest Kobe White proponent since he was drafted. You look at Kobe White's history with the Chicago Bulls. Year one, what happened? He's drafted in 2019 after Jared Culver. The whole freaking fan base wanted Culver or Cam Reddish, both busts. They take Kobe White. He gets signed, and he's in a situation with Jim Ball Boylan as head coach. Last 9 games of that season, what does he do? 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He's phenomenal. COVID hits, season stopped. He spends a whole offseason like all of us, secluded, doesn't get a chance to get better. Year 2.
We don't need to go through the history of Kobe White.
We should, because I don't sense that you're as excited about Kobe as I am.
Well, here's the problem.
What's the problem?
Kobe White, $40 million. Josh Giddey, I'm going to say right now, Josh is $28 to $30 million right now. $70 million. Throw Pat $18 million in. $88 million in 3 players, a $70 million backcourt, and not one of them is a freaking all-star.
Not yet. Joe, he's been the Eastern Conference Player of the Year for the last 2 weeks.
What year is it?
Eastern Conference Player of the Week the last 2 weeks. Do you know, like, no one in the history of the Bulls organization outside of Jordan has done that? Like, he's going to be an all-star.
You know how I know that? Because I get that stuff sent to me. Yes, I do know that.
Yes. That means he's the best player in the conference, not the division, not the Bulls.
For a week. So here's my other lesson I'm going to teach you. Yeah. The worst time of a year to evaluate guys
is in March. I know. I've heard
it's even on steroids this year because the halves that have a big enough lead are sitting their stars. He didn't face Joker and Aaron Gordon the other night. He's been playing great. Okay. And like no other season I can remember, the have-nots don't give a shit. You talk about sitting guys and letting guys just do whatever they want and playing guys that are not future NBA players against the Bulls. So don't get overhyped about March, which you seem to be getting overhyped to get March. But here's the problem. You're willing to spend $70 million in that backcourt.
He's making $12 million. He's making $12.8 million next year, Joe.
You have
Kobe White's in the final year of a contract making $12.8 million next year. So
I'm talking about 2 years when they clear the decks. I'm talking about
guess
2 years
what? Yes, next year if he plays at this level, would you concur that if he plays an entire season like he has in the last 2 weeks, he's a max player? I don't think there's any doubt. Joe, he got to the line 14 times. The previous iteration of Kobe White, I always felt was kind of his good points were kind of based on a hot shooting streak from 3. He hasn't even shot the ball well from 3 in these last 2 weeks. He's getting to the line 14 times a game against Sacramento. He's continually getting to the line. He's just bullying guys in the lane.
And you love that. You love what he's doing, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
You love it.
100%.
Do you wish he was a little better defender?
Of course. But that's all the more reason why
you need
a better defender at the center position to clean up the mess. You've seen teams with successful, questionable liabilities at the guard position. Every Houston team I can mention, all those Trailblazers teams that were all really good, but not great because they didn't have the guy in the front court to really clean up the mess that was out on the outside. So I agree with you. It's problematic that he's not an elite defender, but he's way better than he used to be. He's gotten a lot better.
He's gotten better. So let me
no doubt.
I'm going to check the boxes. He gets to the free throw line a lot more now.
Yes. And he shoots it at 90% rate.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
That's a huge advantage.
He's not only is he going to the hoop, he's going to the hoop with physicality.
Correct.
He's actually rebounding the ball better.
He's always been a good rebounder for the guard position.
He's getting better. Assists are now that he has the ball in his hands a little bit more, and Josh is playing off the ball. The assists have been up. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
And you like
everything you're saying, I agree with. Yes, I'm nodding with you. I just don't understand why you don't believe in him yet.
Well, I do believe in him, but I also live in reality. So, my point is, you just described a poor man's Jimmy Butler, the very player you can't stand, because Jimmy's a way better.
He's not even remotely like Jimmy Butler.
Thanks for walking into that.
They're not even remotely comparable. Jimmy Butler's a great defender. Kobe's not. Kobe's a very good three-point shooter. Jimmy's not. The only thing that's similar between these two players is that they both get to the free throw line at a high rate. Jimmy obviously is one of the best in the league at that.
And Jimmy rebounds for a guard. Jimmy has
I wonder if Jimmy would have shown up at the airport if the Miami Heat got a guy to replace him. I wonder if he would have shown up at the airport and take him out at the dinner like Kobe White did when Josh Giddey arrived. After he had an excellent year, second in improved player, the NBA Improved Player Award. And then what happens? The Bulls again say, we don't want you to be the on-ball guy. We're going to bring in Josh Giddey to handle that.
So hurt. You be off ball. What did Jimmy Butler do to you that your feelings are hurt? All right, so you're okay with – so here's my point. Here's my concern. Josh Giddey's going to get paid, okay?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What do you think, 30 to 35 million? Probably?
No. 28.
I'd be fine with that.
Okay, 28.
Do you think he's better than Emmanuel Quickly, making $32 million a year? Do you think he's better than Suggs?
But here's my concern. You are making these bold statements that I saw months where Josh Giddey was unplayable.
I agree.
So did you?
Yes.
I saw Oklahoma City on the biggest stage say, you're not good enough to be on the floor.
Yeah. I agree. Fair enough. But, Joe, the difference is, agreed with you. Listen, I heard you just over it was probably over a month ago on the CHGO show say Kobe White and Josh Giddey cannot play together in the same backcourt. And you know what? I agreed with you. I nodded my head. Yes,
I said, Kobe, again, this came from Kobe that he was having difficulty with it. I wrote the story.
No doubt.
Kobe was having difficulty with his positioning before, obviously this is before Zach got traded, with how much off the ball he was after the Bulls committed to him to be the man on the ball last year.
Right.
And he's having a hard time.
In that role. And again, for the fourth.
But if you look, since Zach left, he's had the ball more than – if Josh gets the ball, he's going to go. And that's fine. He's supposed to. But Kobe has the ball in his hands way more than he did than even I thought once Zach got traded.
Agreed. And it's been great. It's been excellent.
Okay, but but my concern is, where are they? So that's $88 million right there in 26 when they're supposed to be cleared of guys. Are you keeping Ayo?
No, probably not. He's the guy I would look to probably trade this offseason.
Okay,
I mean, right now, if you look at it,
he's hurt right now, so you can't trade him.
Yeah, I understand. And I'm talking about in the offseason. Ayo, Kobe White.
No, I mean in the offseason. It's going to be tough to trade him because he might be down half the summer.
Are you
serious?
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're saying months.
Right, you don't have to.
They're trying to get him ready for. They're trying to get him ready for August.
Okay, good. Which I think is a smart play. Have him come back because he's only making $7 million next year. Then you have Ayo on a very good contract that you could move at the trade deadline if you need to, or next offseason. No, you don't want to do it next offseason. You want to trade him before that. Probably next year is fine. But he's, to me, like probably the odd guy out. Now, I love Ayo. And I don't know. Maybe he plays excellent next offseason, but you already have two guards you're going to give big money to. That third big salary has to go to a defensive first front court player. The Bulls have ignored this for 5 years since Vooch arrived.
Okay, but so here's the thing that you have to understand. The days of free agency for bigs, especially defensive-minded bigs, it doesn't even get to free agency anymore.
Agreed.
These guys are either extended or they're traded.
Yes. That's what you do next year. That's why you can do it, because Kobe White's making $12.8 million next year, Joe. And
so
you're
saying next year is the year that they add a defensive-minded big.
Or Zion Williamson. And then you just run with that. If you added Zion Williamson,
that's a whole different ball game. If you add Zion, I look at this team completely differently.
Agreed. It's not a defensive first team, but now you're cooking with gas.
But now you're
Ayo, Giddey, and Zion. You build around those three. How many wins does that get you?
Well, okay. So right now, the way this is constructed, forget Zion, because that's the land of if. I don't like to venture into the land of if.
Well, that's what we're doing.
No,
Joe,
I'm telling you, the facts are Josh Giddey's getting a big deal this summer.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And in all likelihood, they'll try to get Kobe for an extension, but he would make way more money if he waits a year.
You can't. You only can get him for 120% according to the contract. The
exactly.
rules.
That's why
that's not happening.
I just said there's no way he'll take it. I just said that.
Yeah. Agreed.
So the idea of Zion, I mean, what if New Orleans gets number one and gets Cooper Flag, does that make Zion someone that they're looking to move? Or are they looking to build around Cooper Flag and Zion? You don't know. I
don't think they would. Let's take that scenario.
You don't know. You don't know that.
We don't. You just said, and I agree with you. You don't get these bigs on the free agent market. You get them through trades.
Right.
I think that's what the Bulls are trying to do by taking on these contracts that are eminently movable.
Okay, here's my concern that you're not seeing. Everything Arturas has said, he is done. Everything he said as far as roster. If he says they're not tanking, they haven't tanked. If he says we're not doing this or we're doing this, He's really done that. If he says we're evaluating this, the one thing he doesn't show his hand, but he shows his philosophy. His philosophy right now, which is why you should be concerned as a Bulls fan, is to build the team out 12 deep.
I heard that. I loved your post. He lost the press conference, as you said. I don't know if he really believes that.
He bombed it.
But Joe, I agree with it when you're saying you can't win a title. I don't think he really believes that. Like, you can't do that. You can't win a title. The closest that actually came to fruition was the 2004.
Don't bring Pistons. The Pistons up.
That was $1 million. It was.
They had a Hall of Fame guy on the team.
They had a Hall of Fame Ben Wallace, who was exactly the type of player that this team would need or could utilize. So I agree with you. Everything you've said. I don't think he really believes that. And you know, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter if Kobe White ends up being an all-star level it guy. That is the question. Right. And I just think there's far too much. If you look at how Kobe's roles have changed as a Chicago Bull over 5 years.
We all know that. We know that.
No, the fans don't know that.
Yes,
Joe,
they do.
I was on the CHGO show 2 days before Christmas. He had an ankle injury at the end of November. I think it was against the Celtics, if memory serves me correct. Missed a game. He played 5 games. And he struggled through that. He played injured. And then venom and anger with Kobe White on that show from the fan base was shocking to me. The guy had averaged 18.
So you couldn't believe that fans took feelings over facts.
I couldn't believe that people didn't give Kobe the benefit of doubt that suddenly he had not lost his ability to play basketball. Like, it was like, here's an idea. Maybe he was hurt and trying to play through it, as opposed to on December 23rd, he's suddenly not a good basketball player anymore. It was ridiculous. But fans, you're right. Some of them are a little bit. They're a lot more forgiving for Patrick Williams than they were for Kobe White. I don't know why.
I think fans are out on Patrick Williams. I think that was the organization that was spewing that. I don't think that's correct. I think everybody is kind of out on Patrick Williams and has been for a couple of years, besides the Bulls.
Well, it's good. Because it's true. He doesn't have the fire. He reminds me of Eddie Curry. Immensely talented, physically gifted, but you wonder, does he really love the game?
So where do you see this? Where do you see this thing going right now? Let me hear your opinion on that. In 2 years, the Bulls are an X-win team.
I think if they sign Josh Giddey at this offseason for anywhere from ideally between 25 and 29 million, that'd be the perfect sweet spot. And Kobe continues to emerge as a superstar, then you have a backcourt that is, if you look at it, if you add Ayo, you have the best guard rotation, 25 and under in the NBA, 3 guards. Then everything needs to be focused on, and then you have Modest, who is clearly showing signs of getting better. I've been one of the few to consistently say that Billy Donovan has handled him extremely well. I was appalled at some of his habits.
The entire media has said that. We've said that all year. Everybody has.
Yeah, and I've said that too, but I think there's quite a big difference. Not the entire media. There's quite a number of people that felt like he should have been playing more. I didn't agree with that. I think he's protected him by playing him against second units.
My version of the entire media is the guys and girls that are on the road. But go ahead.
That's all good. And all of them were consistent in that. I haven't read everybody. I know KC probably was too. That said, you got Modest emerging. I think you would concur he's got the ability right now to be a pretty good player. You need one more piece at either the center, the power forward position, or at the 3 that is an elite defender. You look at the top teams in this league in terms of defensive efficiency. It's Oklahoma City Thunder is number 1. 9 out of top 10 teams are playoff teams. Rockets, Clippers, Celtics, Timberwolves, Cavs, Warriors, Pistons, Bucks. Only the Magic are excellent defensively. They're terrible offensively. Are the only team that's they're still in the playoffs. They'll make the play-in, but they're not going anywhere.
So
everyone else on the real.
You've just built a 45-win team, which is my concern with the.
I disagree with that. I think it's if you find a very good defender and you combine it with these 2 guards.
Say they do this in 2 years. They say they do this in 2 years.
50 to 55 wins.
They're still not going to be better than Cleveland. They're still not going to be better than Boston.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Cleveland is
to me, Cleveland, the only thing they haven't done is done it on the big stage. But as far as the build of the roster, it's almost perfect.
They have the same issue in the backcourt that we do. They're both poor defenders, right?
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Listen. This is going to bring us back to an argument. Okay.
Okay.
You can. It's so hard to build defense on both layers financially. It just is. Boston, they're unique because they have it in versatile wings. They could guard almost 1 through 4, 1 through 5 if it's the right 5. If a team goes small. The Bulls were constructed, and this is my problem with you and Vooch. Vooch was never a rim protector. He wasn't in Orlando. He wasn't brought here to be a rim protector. It was supposed to be Caruso, Lonzo Ball, disrupting at the point of attack, messing with the shot clock, getting your offense out of sync, whether it's deflection, steals. And then Vooch just does what he does, whether it's drop D, get your rebounds, get the ball out,
good.
Stretch the floor. That's what he was brought in to do. And he's played that role perfectly.
No, he hasn't. No, he's failed at
listen,
stretching the floor, Joe. You can't say oh, my God. He shot 29% from 3 last season. What are you talking about? I agree. This shot this season. Great. What?
So you brought one season up, okay?
No. But before that, he was poor. Two years in a row. He came here. The Bulls brought him here because he was shooting 40+ from 3 on 6 attempts per game. Excellent. Right. Excellent. You can't get any better than that. He was a stretch 5. He comes to the Bulls, and that nosedive for 2 years.
It's done this. It hasn't nosed. It's done this. It's done this. So the Cavs were built with complete opposite. Our guard play is bad, but we've got dogs at the front line. Go ahead and blow by them because we got 3 shot blockers or 2 shot blockers in Okoro, who's going to be who they feel is a wing. That's obviously played its way out with Hunter's addition, but perfectly constructed.
Amen. Agreed.
So how do you see
that's the model. That's the model. Don't you agree?
But I don't know if the Bulls can do that. That's what I'm saying. So they need not one defensive-minded big. They need several. Yes. And you're going to be spending $88 million already off the top, haircut in 26.
Whatever draft pick they take this year, to me, has to be the best.
Did you want them to tank or no?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah. Because I didn't believe in Josh Giddey. And I thought, regardless if Josh Giddey makes 10 All-Star games, that trade was not a good trade. You had an opportunity at least to get some draft assets you should have been able to get. Josh Giddey finished last season on the bench. He was a bench player, asked to come off the bench, who did not play when it mattered most for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He was at his low ebb in terms of value. He had 1 year before you had to pay him. How do you not get a second-round pick at least in addition for it? So that said, let's put that aside. It has worked out because this guy is playing some insanely good basketball since the All-Star break. I am concerned that the sample size is not big enough to merit a massive contract. But he is getting to the line. My biggest issues with Josh Giddey is, as a guard, I think a horrible combination is you can't play D and you can't shoot. Well, suddenly he shouldn't.
I like his defense better than Kobe White's defense right now.
I disagree on that, but let's not get off into another argument. I do feel Kobe's better defender. He's stronger.
Who is Billy matching the tougher backcourt guy up? Is it Josh or is it Kobe? That tells
Josh can't guard the tougher matchups on the back. He's guarding against 3s and 4s. That's where he's suited to play.
Who is the coach saying, you guard Luka, you guard this guy, you guard this guy? Is it Josh or Kobe? That tells you.
We got him against Luka. Yes, that was an interesting decision. He scored 29 in the first half, but anyhow.
That tells you how many steals and turnovers did he get? How many times did he flip
Oh, God. Joe, you know darn well it's a team effort against a player like Luka.
The amazing thing to me, here's the amazing thing to me. Here's the amazing thing to me. Okay. Vooch was brought here for agreeably the purpose that you agree that he played to, but yet you're mad now that he's been exposed because that purpose has changed. And you just described everything you want Kobe to do, and basically it was what Jimmy Butler's done and has done, but yet you don't like either of those players. That's my conclusion.
Jimmy Butler was an excellent all-around player. He's one of the best two-way players in the league. I do not think he has conducted himself in the best manner, and it's evident that he was moved from 4 different teams. Do you want to talk to Riley and think
Yeah,
that if he's a big fan of Jimmy Butler? Let's have why don't you give him a call and have him give your thought.
Maybe Pat Riley shouldn't have lied to him for 2 years.
Okay, he lied to him. He didn't pay him a whole lot of money to act like he was sick this year.
Lied to him.
Well, you're a tough guy.
Again, lied to him. Told him players he was going to get, and instead got Terry Rozier. And Jimmy is all about winning. If you don't get him the players he wants, Jimmy will blow up your team and get what he wants. And he did. He got out of it.
If Jimmy was all about winning,
the Heat are crawling.
Miami. He wouldn't have asked to go to. You think he's going to win anything at Golden State? That makes a lot of sense.
He's all about winning because he wanted them to bring in more help. Jimmy doesn't care if he's 2B or 2A.
There's a salary cap, Joe. Jimmy Butler makes a ton of money, and so does.
How much was Terry Rozier making? How much was Rozier making?
Bad move.
A lot.
Tyler Hero's not a good player. Tyler Hero made an all-star team this year. He's not good. Why don't you embrace Tyler?
There's no Jimmy around. What do you mean? Hey, have you ever talked to Tyler Hero?
I haven't. Have you?
Yes.
I bet you have. Okay.
You know why? You know why I talked to him? I met when one time I went back in the Heat locker room when Tyler Hero is a rookie, and Tyler Hero is like, "What time we watching the movie?" And Jimmy's like, "Hold on." Tyler Hero was going over Jimmy's place every night to watch movies after games, to watch film and movies. Jimmy raised Tyler Hero. Remember that. But Jimmy's a terrible teammate. Terrible.
I know. Jimmy's the best. He's fantastic.
All right, interrogation room. You ready?
How did it devolve into the Jimmy Butler conversation? There's so much to celebrate here, and this is such a.
What's there to celebrate? It's a number 9 seed. Are you celebrating that? Are you shitting me right now?
They won 8 out of 10.
Me right now. Are you shitting me right now?
Hey, we're the Steelers of the NBA. That's where we are right
so
now.
if you win 8 out of 10, that automatically bumps you up to a 4 seed?
I agree that
what
this
seeding
year has been a disaster, but
what seeding are they?
They're right now at 9. They're 2 games behind.
Before I go to the interrogation room, here's what I'm going to leave you with, okay? This is the best city in the country to be an owner because people like you that buy hope. You're a Cubs guy, which I could not believe. So you suck on the nipple of hope every year. They bring more people in than most places. And they don't want to spend money. They'll spend enough money compared to the division.
They'll just spend a lot more money than the team in the South Side. I don't get what your plan is. Like, I'm not a Sox fan for that reason.
We're not talking about Cubs, Sox. We're talking about Cubs, Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox. We're talking about major brands.
Yes.
There's only one of that group that doesn't act like a major brand, and that's the one you support. The Bears sell you hope. Sell you hope. They haven't been relevant since Reagan was the president.
They haven't. No, 2011 they were pretty good.
You're not relevant if you lose the Super Bowl. You're not relevant.
with you. I'm not arguing.
You're not relevant if you lose the Super Bowl.
Haven't won since 2016. The Cubs are the only organization that brought me consistent.
Here's where you're wrong. The Steelers haven't won since 2008 because when you go into every year, it is championship or bust. If you lose in the Super Bowl in 2010, that season is a bust.
It's bust.
That is the difference between you and me right now. If
Who's
the
Steelers
don't win the Super Bowl, it's bust.
Well, that's how it is for the Cubs now. The Cubs have been great for the vast majority of the years, the last 10 years. They won.
You think right now the mentality of Cubs fans is World Series title or bust?
It's not the mentality, and it shouldn't be for any team.
It should, absolutely. That's the difference between me and Chicago fans. You guys drink the Kool-Aid of hope. I live in reality. The bar is set here. This should be a major market that wins titles. It should be a major market that wins titles, but instead it has voices like yours that are just building hope. You're sitting there saying, let's talk about all the great things going on. They're a number 9 seed. There's nothing great going on here. You've
been reading my Twitter account? I haven't been about hope this year at all until
you just said, let's talk about all the good things.
Well, because they won 8 out of 10, we finally have an emerging superstar. You can't ignore the fact these guys have played incredibly well. Again, best player in Eastern Conference last week.
Nobody cares about March. Trust me.
He's 25, Joe. 25.
Fugazi.
He's not 30.
Fugazi.
He's 31.
It's Jason Fugazi. 25. You're caught in a Fugazi. Interrogation.
That was an excellent band. Go on. All right, let's
Derrick Rose or Allen Iverson?
Derrick Rose.
Oh my God. Are you
I got a Can I ask my question to you? Are we already going into this?
After you get out of here, right now, Katie's vomiting on her sweater.
Wait,
her sweatshirt.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
What's
Derrick Rose over Allen Iverson. That's what you picked.
Yes, Derrick Rose means a lot more to me as a Chicagoan than Allen Iverson does.
What you mean? Again, you're caught in your feelings. Joakim Noah or Pussycat?
Joakim Noah.
Wemby or Zion?
Tough one. I'll go with Wemby because if we had Wemby on the Bulls, we'd be. Would you consider us a contender with Kobe and Wemby and Josh?
That's Wemby or Zion?
Good. I'll take Wemby.
Okay, but Wemby's never going to be in a Bulls uniform. So Zion, Tibbs or Doc Rivers?
Tibbs.
Last shot of a game, MJ or LeBron?
MJ. That's not even a question.
Build a team around at the start of a season, MJ or LeBron?
MJ.
You like guys that quit and go play baseball because they can't handle pressure.
What are you serious? Are we going to have this argument? Hey, Joe, what happened in 2011?
Worst moment in Chicago sports history in your mind. Worst thing that's ever happened to you as a fan.
Sports history. Oh, that's a good one. When the Bulls chose Jerry Krause over Michael Jordan in the summer of 1988. Worst moment.
Wrigley Field or Fenway?
Wrigley Field, no question.
Have you been?
Joe, have you been to both places? I've been to both. There's not even a comparison, especially now.
Because before I did the Bulls, I covered this White Sox team for 12 years, so I probably got to both places. I'm going to guess.
That's right. I forgot.
I'm going to go out on a limb that I've gone to Fenway and seen high IQ people that stayed for the entire game, and I've gone to Wrigley and seen rats and frat boys sell their tickets because they're too drunk to make it over from the bar.
Oh, come on. That's in the bleachers. From the
dumbest take you've ever had. Dumbest take you've ever had.
Such a bunch of crap.
Felicio,
there's
more
Felicio fans in this country.
It's a low IQ baseball fan base.
Oh,
dumbest take you've ever had.
That's such a dumb South Side.
I'm not from the South Side. I'm not from either side.
That's really no. But you covered the team, and you are part of that whole culture. I could tell.
Yes,
that's a bunch of nonsense.
The culture of Jerry Reinsdorf, where he was writing letters and statements condemning me. Yes, I've embraced the White Sox culture.
No.
Do your homework.
The fans that don't love Reinsdorf, they love the White Sox.
Go ask a White Sox fan if they like Joe Cowley. They'll be like, the pitcher that we hated or the writer we hated. Which one? That's what they'll say. Well, you're right. I've embraced the White Sox culture.
You're incredibly popular with a lot of White Sox fans. I don't know if you know this. It's true. You are. I talk to you.
Dumbest take you've ever made on Twitter.
Okay. They enjoy how you go after Jerry. That's true.
You had a lot of Felicio love.
No, I did not. That's not true. Mark K, our buddy from Australia, did. Dumbest take I had on Twitter. I think I had a number of Denzel Valentine takes that were probably, in retrospect, I'm somewhat regretful of. Dumbest take.
There's two buses. They're on the edge of a cliff. Doug, your podcast buddy, your pal, who might not like you after that argument you had with Plus Minus. He may not. In the other bus is Cooper Flagg, newly drafted by the Bulls, who got lucky and got number 1. You can only save one bus. Whose bus do you save?
Well, I'd like to think that Doug is such a big Bulls fan that he would say, go save Cooper. So I'd probably go save Cooper. If he's going to be a Bull. He's younger.
He's a Bull.
He's a longer life.
He's wearing the Bulls warm-up. He's just sitting in the bus. It's going over a cliff. He's unconscious. You can only save
I can guarantee you Doug would want me to save Cooper. Doug's much older than Cooper. I don't care if it's not even Cooper. If it's a random 15-year-old or 18-year-old, Doug's
no, it's Cooper Flagg. I don't care about some random 15
or 18. I'm telling you, the answer is Cooper because even if it isn't Cooper, if it's some kid is 18, I'm saving that kid. So there we go.
All right. So you let your friend die for Cooper Flagg being a Bull. Beautiful. Fred.
Joe, if I'm going over a cliff for Cooper Flagg is who?
What were your questions you wanted to ask me? Go ahead, ask me.
I want to ask you a question. So this is something
Katie, are you still there or did she kill herself? She jumped out of her window.
She fell asleep. I gotta say, you've been very. There's a lot of animosity in this conversation. I'm kind of.
There's
shocked.
Not. I'm shocked with how much I used to appreciate. I just think that's why I start calling you Dum Dum. I don't understand what's happened to you it's been about a year, a little over a year. I just don't know how old are you now?
I'm in my 40s. Let's put it that way. So
it could be a midlife crisis for you.
Okay.
It could be. You're just going through things where it seems like your takes have changed from gathering knowledge that's out there and provided for you just going off the rails with just feelings over facts.
I think a lot of my takes are based in stats and facts.
No.
We'll beg to differ. All right, Joe, here's my question. Since you covered the Bulls in the 2012-13 season, I've been
my
curious
first year.
about something. Yeah. That was your first year with the team, really?
First year. Yep.
Okay. Did you personally expect Derrick Rose to return at some point that year?
At first I did not. Then when the team and team doctors cleared him and they expected it, I thought he would give it a go, even though he was saying, even what we were being told from his camp is his mentality, there was a big hurdle. It was so I was willing to give him a pass, but once they started getting closer to the playoffs, I thought he may try and go in a limited role just to kind of be an inspiration because those dudes did love him at the time. And for him to even go out there and play 20 minutes, I thought would be something that they couldn't win it like that, but I thought they could actually make some kind of phenomenal run because I know how hard Tibbs was coaching him. I know how hard those guys were playing that year. So
how good Noah was in their first round against the Nets. And it was amazing.
He did it on a bad ankle. And I remember we were at that shoot around. They were thinking he wasn't going to play, and he comes up to Tibbs, and Tibbs is like, Tibbs had just talked to medical, and medical kind of gave it a no. And I remember Joe said, "I'm effing playing," and Tibbs is like, "I don't," and he's like, "No, I'm effing playing tonight. Put me in the effing lineup."
That's why you love Joakim Noah. I mean, the guy's a total stud.
It's something Big Pussycat would not do. He'd be playing Fortnite saying,
"No, he's got to turn this around.
I got stuff to shoot." Right, go ahead.
Question. All right. So, did the rest of the players in that team think any of them share frustration that he wasn't playing with you that year?
No,
they wasn't playing.
They all understood.
All right. If you sat down with Derrick Rose,
the only frustration I would say was from team doctors and from the front office. The coaching staff was not frustrated. The players were not frustrated.
Well, and from the fan base too. A large swath of the fan base, and from sports radio.
Some sports radio, there were some talking heads that were.
Well, I think the issue was, Joe, do you remember who else got hurt, tore his ACL on the same day? Actually, earlier in the day was Ivan Shumpert from Chicago with the Knicks. He came back from the same injury in January of that year. So I always felt 8 months later, felt
everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody's different, but people, I didn't think that helped. But that was out there.
That year was not that. What Derrick did there, that's not the issue I ever had with Derrick Rose.
And then last question. Do you think if you sat down with Derrick today, he would express regret about not coming back for that year? I mean, the truth is we'll never know if they could have done something against Miami.
Coming back from what year?
Not coming back and trying to play in that.
Oh, no. First of all, he wouldn't sit down with me, but he would not. No, he does not regret that decision. We've already asked him that. He doesn't regret that decision.
Joe, this has been fantastic. I got to run, man. I hate to do this. I got to get back to real life. Awesome seeing you, brother. I do love you, Joe. I enjoy everything you do.
Hey, I love you. I want you to be smarter on Twitter. I want you to be smarter on Twitter. I was almost going to get a buzzer that I hit and would say, that was dumb. And I would just keep hitting it. But I decided I'm not going to do that to you because I'm a man of the people and I'm a kind Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Take it easy, brother.
All right, that was Fred. That was the longest I've had a guest on. So let's wrap this up. We have the Cowley Island, the rant, even though there's been lots of rants. There we go. Boom. Brought it up a little bit. Here's the thing that scares me right now. It's not any fault of their own. It's going to be a fault of the front office. Josh Giddey, God bless him. He bet on himself, and his ass is winning. That Aussie, he is winning. I nicknamed his agent K Walla. If anyone follows me on Twitter, you know what that means. And he's about to get paid. His price tag has gone up from letting him go to market, and the market, because there's not a lot of teams with money. Maybe Brooklyn's out there lurking, but he doesn't really fit what they're trying to do because they're in complete tank mode. They don't want to commit money. I still think if you're the Bulls, as well as he's been playing, let the market see if you could still set a price on him. If it makes him hurts his feelings, so be it. The last thing you want to do is be committed $70 million into a backcourt that does not have an all-star. I don't care how guys are playing the last couple of weeks. It's nice. It's a cute little story, but there's no all-stars in that backcourt if you think you're going to build this thing the right way. Because if you commit $70 million and you still don't have all-stars in 2 years, what you have is a 42-win team. Yay. Let's go to the list. Right now, I did a list on this probably a month ago of keepers, the guys that I consider keepers. It has changed. These are the guys moving forward who I would like to see them keep, whether it's their makeup, what they do, their importance moving forward, all that kind of stuff. Number 5, Trey Jones. Love everything about him. They're not going to be able to keep him. They're not going to have the money. I'll be shocked if they could somehow squeeze the money. Io, I still would like to see a healthy Io to see exactly what he could become. If he could become that defensive stopper that the backcourt needs and makes Lonzo Ball expendable at the trade deadline next year. Kobe White, number 3. He's been phenomenal. He's been great. I want to see him become a two-way player. Josh Giddey, phenomenal. Been great. Ditto. Want to see him become a two-way player. Then I'll feel good about $70 million committed to a backcourt. Number 1, Modest Buchelis. Love everything about him. Love his makeup. Love the fact of how he takes criticism. Love the fact how teammates can get on him and he doesn't take it to heart. And look, for where they got him, I mean, they have to be excited about the potential of him. So we'll see if he continues to develop, see what his offseason's like see him add about 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, and see where he's at. So that's it. It was I've lost my voice. I have a headache. But Fred, the fans voted Fred to come on. At the end of the day, as mean as I am to him on Twitter, I love what Fred does. I think voices like his are important in a different media platform. I just want Fred to be smarter. That was the whole point of this. Just be smarter, Fred. Get out of your feelings. Get more towards facts. So that's it. Katie, thank you for jumping in for Mr. McGufty, who is probably at the South Side right now. And until next week, I got next.